I need something stronger. I need something
To modern medicine.
I think you remember when?
Can everybody hear me okay?
A little higher.
We're going to get started in just a minute. As soon as I get the countdown for the Facebook Live, get started. Good morning, everyone. Welcome to the Mayor's Breakfast. I'm your mayor, Grandis. I'm still getting used to saying I'm the mayor. It's a fun thing, so I appreciate everyone being here. We have quite the full house here, and what I would like to do is start first with the Pledge of Allegiance, and I would ask Councilmember Jimcunneen if you could lead us, please.
Please stand. Place your right hand over your heart or at salute at the veterans. Ready, begin. I
pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. So what I'd like to do at this point is open it up, the meeting to any first. Do we have any first-time people here? Oh, great. If you're a first-time person, do you want to stand up and just introduce yourself? Scott?
I'm Scott Rogers from Fountain Valley Living.
I'm Augustine.
I'm Bob Kiesel. I'm with Community Foundation.
Excellent.
And
Bob Israelski with the Community Foundation.
hi, Bob. I'm David. I'm Katie Wright's husband. and a resident.
All right, very good. And then I wanted to also open it up, the floor to anybody who has any announcements they'd like to make about any upcoming events or anything they'd like the community to know about. Does anybody have an announcement, Janine?
So, the Interfaith Council sponsors every year the Community Service Day, which is, I just wanted to get it on your calendars if you could. It is April the 20th. So we right now have about 32 projects slated between schools, cities, parks, nonprofits, lots of areas in Fountain Valley and in Huntington Beach that we will be doing service projects at on that morning, Saturday, April 20th. Please think about coming out, volunteering. We'd love to have your help if you could. As I said, we have about 32 projects slated, but we'll probably go to about 40. So if you have a project that is dear to your heart, that you want to see some work done at it, something that needs to be improved, something that needs to be made, your house, yeah, right. That's why I say, can I have a project at my house? But talk to me, and we'll get something slated for that day. Thank you.
Anybody else have an announcement?
One more, sorry.
One more, Miss Fountain
Also on the
Valley.
Miss Fountain Valley Committee. So I'd like to welcome you all to come and join us for the program. It is February, oh my gosh, to make sure I have the right date. 4th, thank you. Jimcunneen's daughter's in there. We're happy to have her again. She's amazing. And we have 10 beautiful, beautiful, all of them could be great Miss Fountain Valleys, and I think you'll enjoy coming to the program. It's 5:30, I believe, on Sunday, February 4th. Thank you.
All right, thank you, Janine. Appreciate that. And does anybody else have an announcement they wanted to make? All right, I wanted to introduce some special guests that we have here today. First off, from our city council, we have our vice mayor, Ted Bowie. Thank you, Ted, for joining us. Councilmember Jimcunneen. We have our city manager, Maggie Lee. We have our police chief, Sheppard. And we have our fire chief, McQuaid. Services Director, Frizelle. Our Director Scott Kim. Our Public Works Director, Scott Smith. All right, if I've got anybody, I'm sorry. Also, really important to me and really appreciate, we have quite a few former mayors here. We have Cheryl Brothers. Crandall. Let's see, we have Steve Nagel, sorry Steve. Okay. We also have a great guest speaker that will be speaking in just a little bit. We have our general manager from the Orange County Sanitation District, Rob Thompson. And now I want a big thank you to Fountain Valley Regional Hospital for hosting us. They provide a free breakfast every month. And the money that you've donated all goes to the Community Foundation, so just know that. So we appreciate that. And I'd like to call up Randy, the CEO of the hospital, to come up and say a few words. Now, I'm lucky enough to serve on the board of directors for the Fountain Valley Regional Hospital. This is when we have our board meetings. And Randy has been on board now for about a year, just over a year. And what a change we have. Such a positive change in our hospital. And the ideas that you've brought, the enthusiasm that you brought to this hospital, it truly is, during our board meeting, every board member would agree, it's night and day. So Randy, please say a few words and thank you so much.
So glad to host you. I don't think Scott Rogers and I don't think we're related, but just so glad to have you here this morning. It's a little dreary, right? A little bit harder to get up. Took me a few more minutes to get up and get going. But most of the country is what, negative 20 degrees? So I'll probably be laying by my pool this weekend.
Wow.
Gotta love California, right? So you guys know I transplanted from Baton Rouge, Louisiana. My wife grew up in California. And so this was a homecoming for us, and I've got 5 kids. One of my daughters just became a new nurse. It's so exciting. She graduated from TCU Nursing School, and she's actually taking her NCLEX exam today. And she's scheduled to start in a Trauma 1 center in Fort Worth, Texas. Yes, so exciting for me. And so every nurse that we bring in, I really think about them as my daughter, you know, and I want to provide a good experience for them. I want them to feel every day when they come to work and they leave the rewards of what we do. And healthcare has been such a tough time for so many people. In fact, the world's kind of messy, right? It just is. And so I am a big believer in the glass is half full at Fountain Valley. And so everybody's empowered. When a meeting may be going a little negative, and oh, the copier's broken today, or you know, it's rained all over me and ruined my shoes, or whatever's going on, everybody's empowered to say, what's going on today, right? What's going positive? You know, what are we doing well? And so we're really uplifting our culture here. We're doing a lot of customer service training this year. I will actually be teaching the class, and that's not because I'm the expert. I've been doing this for about 28 years, but I've been a patient several times, right? I get to speak to the patients. I get to answer concerns from our patients and those kind of things. And so I have a unique perspective into the key wording that we can use. We've got to bring compassion back to health. It's become, you know, the masks have come off. We were hiding behind our masks. We were hiding behind our face shields, right? Not letting people into the building, all these crazy things that we've been through. And we've got now to bring ourselves out of this and come back to customer service. It's that simple. And I tell people all the time, if you have a family member in the hospital, you come and you see them. Okay? Visitors are the most important thing. Now, you may not be clinical and you think, well, what does my visitation mean? So on any given day, in any ICU, in any hospital, whether it's a 20-bed unit or a 40-bed unit, we've got a 30-bed unit, you've got 30 people, many of them can't speak, right? And I I know you'll be surprised by this. About 1/3 of those patients have visitors from their families. They have somebody that cares about them. Isn't that, it's mind-boggling. And so 2/3 of the people that are there don't have anybody visiting them, or don't have anybody to care about them. And so it's so important that we visit our families. Every person is important, right? I know when my mom was in the ICU at a hospital, I was there every day. I brought little things for the staff, and I talked to them. And and what I wanted to get across to the staff was, that's my mom. I love her. Let me tell you about her life and what she's accomplished in her life. And I want to get to a point where our staff is asking those questions. And so one of the things that we like to ask is, what do you know about your patient that's not in the chart? What do you know about them? What's their story? Right? And so if we can nurture people and be compassionate, we will be the very best hospital in this area. That's it. Culture trumps strategy every time. It's all about that. And so my recommendation to you is a couple recommendations. Number one, if you have surgery, walk a lot. When I see people in the hallway walking, I come and I walk next to them. And I say, it's so great that you're walking around. And they make me, sometimes they're willing an Ivy Paul, and they make me walk around. And they don't know it, but I'm a storyteller. And so we get to talking, and I might make them walk twice as far. Well, they're competition. But I know how important it is. Is it the walking itself that's important? No. It's the mental state. Getting up and getting going and moving and saying, you know what, I'm going to get healthy. I'm going to get healthy. I'm going to beat this. I'm going to overcome this. So, 1,200 admissions, 50,000 ER visits, 6,000 surgeries. We've got a NICU, we've got a PICU, we're stroke and STEMI certified. We've got a lot of accolades and a lot of good things that are going on. We want to care for you and for your family and nurture you. I get to heal patients and deliver babies every day. That's what I get to do. They pay me for this. Isn't that crazy? It's so wonderful. And so I'm so glad to be the CEO of the hospital. I'm so glad to really help us revitalize ourselves after the things that we've been through and get things back to the way they need to be. That's why I'm here. That's what I'm going to accomplish. And Glenn, you're so uplifting to me all the time. Glenn's a tough customer. Don't know that? He asks hard questions on the board. He really holds me accountable. And I really appreciate you for that. Because the community should hold me accountable. It's really important. So I'm so glad to have you. Like I said, I'm a talker, so I won't keep going on and on and on. But I'm proud to be here. I'm having a lot of fun. And I really want to just thank you for your support, for the community support.
So, can you see why the board is so excited about our new CEO here at the hospital? He really is making a difference. And he's right, in the meetings, I'm kind of known that I love being on the Fountain Valley Regional Hospital board because it's something that directly benefits every resident in all our community. And I am one of those guys that asks every question about everything because I really care, and the best part is he always has the answers, so that's a good thing. All right, at this point, I'm going to go over a little bit about what's going on in the community. And I want to start with, since this is my first mayor's meeting, many people know me, but not everybody. So just a little very brief about myself. So I'm a 44-year resident of Fountain Valley. So I'm a homegrown guy. Went to Fountain Valley High School. I see actually some of my classmates here. So proud to be a Baron, and been very involved with the community. Most known for one of the founding directors of the Community Foundation. Very proud of that, and been a 40-plus year member of the Kiwanis family. So that's the community service group, and I'm on many different boards and all that. So that's just very briefly about me, but I am truly honored to be the mayor of Fountain Valley. Still, I can't get used to when I say that. It means a lot to me. And I want you guys to hold me accountable. If there's something going on, reach out. Len.Grandis@fountainvalley.gov, myself, 714-457-3557. You have information, you have concerns, you have questions, you're welcome to reach out to me. If it's something about what's going on in the city, what's the proper way is to go through staff. So you would call the city, get your information, but if you want to let me know what's going on as well, do that. Or if there's something where you don't feel like you're getting your questions answered, you're welcome to reach out to me as well. So my pillars for the year, what am I looking for coming up this year? First off is innovation. We have a new IT director. I guess you're not so new, so Jim Moore's got Kim in the back. My background, I have a real job too. I sell cybersecurity software to state and local governments throughout the Southwest. Being on city council and being the mayor, some people don't realize, is not a full-time job. We're basically volunteers. I donate my stipend every month to an autism charity. But IT is my background, so I'm super excited to have Scott with us, and we're gonna do really good. He's already done amazing things. Our IT was kind of like a dinosaur before he took over, and it's getting better, but we have a long way to go. The second is fiscal responsibility. So everybody knows everything costs more today. It's the expenses are going up, and one thing I want more than anything is I want to say our partners, our employees, but our partners in our city, is I want everyone to have a fair wage. That's really important to me, because we spend so much money recruiting and training, and if you're really low in the wages where we used to be, then they move to another city. So we value our employees. We want to make sure that we're giving the best benefits. We really want them to stay with Fountain Valley and to care and have the best. That costs a lot of money. So we're going to be really careful how we spend our money. But one thing that I'm going to work on this year is embracing new revenue opportunities for our city. That's where the key is. We need to bring in new revenue opportunities. But what I don't want it to be is a burden to our residents. So it's not going to be a new tax. But we have to come up with creative ideas. There's been a couple already, and there'll be a few more that you'll be hearing about, where we bring in new revenue to the city that allows us to do what we need to do and keep this a nice place to live. The next item is embracing diversity. So that's really important to me. In our community, we have about 35% or so that are Vietnamese Americans. And we need to do more to make sure that everybody who works, plays, and lives in Fountain Valley feels welcome, feels safe, and feels included. So that's real important to me. Some of the things we're doing is coming up. We have the Tet Parade, that is the Lunar New Year, that's coming up next month in Westminster. So the city of Fountain Valley will sponsor that. Myself and my fellow council members will be in the parade, so we'll support that. We're going to have and you'll hear about this a little bit more, a Lunar New Year event at the city. We also, hopefully, if I can convince my fellow council members again this year, and I believe they will, we'll wear aoyes, which is the traditional Vietnamese clothing at a meeting to embrace our community. And also we have the state of the city. We'll be talking about that a little bit too, and we're going to do a Lunar New Year theme for that as well, since that's coming up. And then really big, you're going to start seeing a lot of this from me, is community outreach. So one of the things that we hear a lot at meetings when certain things are going on, the residents come up and we hear, we didn't know about that. If we only knew that was coming up, maybe we would have done something sooner. So a couple of the ways that we're going to do that is we're going to have a mayor's message. So between council meetings, we have our council meetings on twice a month on Tuesdays. On the Thursday of the week in between, I'm gonna have a quick video message, talk about what happened at the last council meeting, what's upcoming at the next council meeting, and also what's upcoming with the planning commission. That's just one tool. That's not the only way we're gonna be communicating out, but that's one of the tools that we'll do to make sure to create awareness. There's a lot of other ways we can be doing that as well, but that's one. Community outreach, we're gonna do mayor's breakfast, so we'll continue to do this. We will have a podcast too, we'll talk about that in just a minute. And let's see, if a major event comes up, if there's something that's really gonna be big in our city, as warranted, we'll have town halls too. We'll have something where the residents can come speak, have more of a say, more than just 3 minutes at a council meeting. So my approach is every way possible that we can communicate out to the residents, we're gonna do that. And it won't be just myself, it'll be my fellow council members as well. So that's kind of the approach that I'm gonna take for the upcoming year. So let's get into the presentation. So let's talk about some of the city highlights. You're gonna take out your phone and take a picture of the Scan Me, and that'll take you to our community satisfaction survey. What we want is we want to get feedback, what we're doing right, what we could be doing differently. We want to hear, this is another thing about outreach, we want to hear about what's going on. If you're watching at home, take a picture of this QR code and that will take you to our survey. It'll take you to our website, and we're also going to have free tickets to Summerfest. We're going to do a little bit of a raffle with this, a little reward to get people to do that. So we like this. We want to know what's right. We want to know what's not exactly right as well. So that's another way we can do outreach. So I talked a little bit about this. Megan, thank you so much. Everybody, this is Megan up front. She's the brainchild behind the podcast. She's been wanting to do this for about a year now. And we finally had our first podcast yesterday. And it's going to be monthly. And it's going to be what I like to call infotainment. So there's going to be some information about things that are upcoming. Hopefully it'll be a little bit entertaining, and it'll also be informational. So we filmed our first one yesterday, and we had as a guest speaker David Trump, which is such a great first person. If you don't know David, he is the owner of Mimi's Jewelry. He does so much in our community in terms of rolling up his sleeves and volunteering, as well as providing jewelry for many of the nonprofits to raffle off, and he writes lots of checks to help our community. So I hope you enjoy it. It's something we're trying to be innovative, and this is one of the ways that we do that. So again, Megan, a big thank you to you. You've really spearheaded it. Here's a couple events that are coming up. So as I mentioned, we're gonna have a Lunar New Year Festival. That's over at the Rec Center on February 3rd between 10 and 1. Come have fun. There's so much you can learn about our Vietnamese community and the Lunar New Year. It's really a fun event. If you want to get dressed up, you can. You don't have to. I will be there and I'll be dressed up, and we're going to have a good time with that. And then also the State of the City. So the State of the City is going to be at the Saigon Grand Theater. That's over on Edinger and Brookhurst. If you have not been in there before, I'm going to date myself, but that used to be the movie theater back in the 80s and 90s.
I remember.
I know. But, so the State of the City, we're selling tickets for that. It's $50 a ticket, a really nice lunch, and it's going to be from 11:30 to 2. You can get the tickets on our website. Go to mountainvalley.gov, and you can get the tickets. There's also a QR code there too, so if you haven't purchased your tickets, we do expect to sell out. And it's going to be really a lot of fun. We have a lot of guest speakers. We're going to be talking about what happened last year, Former Mayor Kim Constantine did a great job. We'll be reviewing what she did, and then again, what the goals are for the coming year. Okay. And again, it's going to be a theme of the Lunar New Year. All right, so exciting. Dutch Brothers is coming to Fountain Valley, the first Orange County vacation. A lot of people really excited about that. I have to Dutch Brothers coffee. They have that vacuum cleaner now.
They're all over Idaho.
All over. Everybody's very excited about this. So the first one is going to be opening in February. It's at Magnolia and Talbert. And then there'll be a second one over where Flora Decor is on Magnolia and Warner. That'll be opening up later in the year. I hear rumor there may even be a third one that they're interested in.
It's like Starbucks. More caffeine, more caffeine.
Starbucks, really important. The general plan has been approved, so you may have seen that. That was at I believe in the November, early December meeting. So we have set the plan. If you want to go to the city website and read about the general plan, it's the blueprint for what is going to be for our city, including the housing element, all kinds of information. It's planning for the next 20 years. So that was a big achievement. That literally took 5 to 6 years of all kinds of community outreach. We had many town halls, many discussions during city council. So we're really happy that that's been completed. Okay. So, public works updates. Let's start with the first one, Newland Street repair. I get that question so often. What happened on Newland? It's been blocked off one lane for maybe 6 months now, maybe even longer, 9 months.
15.
How long?
15.
13 months.
15.
15 months.
October.
Wow, okay, it's even longer than I realized.
2 years ago.
Anyway, it's been closed for a long time. The process, first off, we had to figure what happened. It was basically a big sinkhole below the street that fell. So we had to first figure out what was wrong. Then we had to go out to RFP to have people bid on fixing it. There was some federal funding that we had tried for as well. I don't know, Maggie, we were not too successful with that, but we tried to get some federal funding since it was caused oil rains that we had. But the good news is we finally are in the process of fixing it now, and we expect that to be open in February. Oh, this one we're so excited about. The universally accessible playground. So if you haven't heard about this yet, we are spending, the city has raised about $1.8 million to build a new playground at our sports park off of Brookhurst and Nagel when you go in there. And what's so great about this is that it's for everyone. So those that may have cognitive issues or are in wheelchairs, in the past, you know, some cities had a playground where you had this for those with special needs over here, which was really great, and they had the typical kids over here. This is going to be integrated, so everybody is playing together. And for those of you who know me, I have a son with severe autism, nonverbal, with cognitive issues, and this means so much to me. And a big thank you to Triton, the state of California. They donated $1 million towards this. A big thank you to Larry Crandall and the Community Foundation, who have raised hundreds of thousands of dollars to help pay for it. So we're almost fully funded, and we expect that to be May 2024.
Michelle Steele's office, too.
Oh, yes, in Michelle Steele's office, yes. So we haven't gotten that check yet, but she's going to get us $500,000. So a big thank you to Congressman Steele for that as well. And then there's a leak detection survey that's going on along with our water district. So that's going to be a comprehensive study that's done throughout the city. So that's on that. Okay, is that everything? Oh, how about that? Great, so now what you're really here for, and first off, this is amazing today, the turnout that's standing and rolling in the back, so I appreciate everybody's patience with this. And it's my pleasure to introduce our guest speaker today. So I'm on the Orange County Sanitation District Board of Directors, one of the many boards that I'm on. Matter of fact, I was just appointed to the steering committee, and we had our first meeting yesterday, and I'm vice chair of the admin committee. So I have to say that OC San is the biggest secret that's out there. And that's why we have Rob here to talk a little bit about it. We have the world's, not the counties, not the states, not the countries, we have the world's best reclamation system for reclaiming water, and the sanitation district does such an amazing job. I'm super excited to be on your board and to introduce the general manager, Bob Johnson.
All right, thank you. I'm excited to be here as OC San's general manager. I have a year in, so we share a bond with hospital staff here. New leadership in the last year. I'm doing a lot. I was listening to a speech, and we're trying to do the same thing. I'm about to give a speech in Palm Springs to the California State Sanitation Agencies, and one of my slides has culture eats strategy for breakfast. If you don't get your culture right, you don't have a workforce that is innovative at the core, is allowed to take calculated, thoughtful risks that are communicated, then you're not going to get any better. You're going to be an old, stale government organization that everyone loves to grouse about. So we are innovating at OC San, and I'm going to talk through a lot of those things. And we have a long history. You can see this is our 70th year. That's the big effort for us this year. We've been around since 1954. I can go through the standard jokes that my former general manager used to say, Jim Herbert, like to say, Disneyland started in 55, we started in 54. The rumor was there was a coin flip, who got which, and Mountain Valley won. So our mission, what we do, what makes us so special, our mission is to protect public health and the environment, and now to recycle and reclaim. So if you go back to the good old days, our job was to keep sewage out of the streets and get it into the ocean where it belonged. Obviously, we've moved a lot. Clean Water Act came along, so then it became take care of the environment also. So what we've been able to do is take these facilities that you see there and morph them over time, constantly changing, constantly upgrading, adapting to new technology, new needs. That's the hallmark of what OC San does. That's how we keep up with the world. And in fact, we lead the world, as you just heard, with the largest reclamation plant in the world. So I grew up in Orange County also. I think of it as little Orange County where everybody kind of knows everybody. But we all kind of lose sight of the fact that we are the 6th largest county by population in the nation. And by extension, we are the 6th largest wastewater agency in the country. So little Orange County isn't so little. And what we have here is a service area from Seal Beach to La Habra, around to Yorba Linda, down the backside of Irvine to Newport Beach. 2.6 million people, heading to 2.7 very, very slowly. We treat about 180 million gallons of water a day. That is not our high water mark. 20 years ago, we were treating well over 240 million gallons a day. So conservation is working, and that's great, unless you're the wastewater guy. So I lost all my pollution water. Same amount of solids, you may find this hard to believe, but people still do what people do at roughly the same rate they used to do it. But with less water, it means that the concentration in the water has changed. So I don't like the term wastewater, I use the term enriched water. Our job is to take that enrichment out and get it back into service. While is anybody from the water district? Our lazy brothers from the water district. Clean water. Clean water, how tough is that? Oh, no, have a spill with clean water, what is that? Cold wash down. My spill. It's very important for us to maintain the service levels that we do. What that looks like in the public, I'll start with our facilities first, sorry. We have the two treatment plants. You're very familiar with the one in the middle. That is the Orange County Sanitation District campus. That little notch on the side is where the Orange County Water District resides. If we were truly gonna draw the map, that little notch would be a little higher. We lease property to the water district so that they could expand the groundwater replenishment system. So for the low price of $1 a year, we lease them about 20 acres of land. That's where they have their reverse osmosis system, their UV system, and storage tanks, which allow us to get to full reclamation capacity. Equal plant down in Huntington Beach by volume. Either of them can do about 320 million gallons a day when it rains. On a daily basis, that's obviously different. We push more flow to Fountain Valley. That's so that it's a cheaper energy-wise to get it to Orange County Water District. So we do about 125 million gallons a day at Fountain Valley, and about 65 at Huntington Beach. For those mathematicians in the room, you're gonna say, hey, that doesn't add up to 185, and you're right. It's because we take a lot of backwash from Orange County Water District and reprocess it. So when we ship them their water, all their treatment, we get all the stuff back, all that enrichment I was talking about. Whether it's some solids, which were in our secondary treatment that we could reuse, or it's salt, which goes in the ocean. One of the things we never talk about is all the water that we import into Orange County is very hard water. So if you're taking water, especially from the Colorado River, it's full of salt because it's been used 20 times in Colorado, Utah, Arizona. Everybody's using it, treating it, putting it back in the river. So the solids in that water, the dissolved solids, are over 700 parts per million. That's when you start to get that buildup on your shower heads and whatnot. Part of what we do with the groundwater replacement system is take that salt out. We put over 3 million pounds of salt per day in the ocean. That's 3 million pounds of salt per day, not in the aquifer, that's coming back through your drinking water system. So not only is it about the volume, it's about the quality of the water in Orange County. Protecting the aquifer that we all use is a huge consideration. So how do we collect our water? We have residences, businesses, industry, mostly residents in Orange County. About 90% of our water is from households. It's all collected in either city or local collections groups, water systems for Fountain Valley, that's the city. All that water comes through their local pipes, connects to our main trunk lines. We then take it to one of our 2 treatment plants. We treat it, we make the water mostly available to the groundwater replenishment system there on the bottom corner. That's where we're giving them about 150 million gallons a day. They're retreating, we get some of that back, but they're making up to 130 million gallons a day of drinking water. That drinking water is put in the ground, either here with barrier wells, mid-well injection, or lakes up in Anaheim. It all percolates down, and all the cities in that service area we saw have access to pump that water out as reusable water. So that's the secret sauce. That's what makes us so innovative and unique. Everyone is trying to catch up. We spend a lot of our time helping our brothers and sisters in San Diego and LA, trying to figure out how to cooperate the same way OC San and OCW cooperate. So these pipes, as you can imagine, are not small. An idea to give you a little bit of scale, this is one pipe down in Sheppard a few years ago, where our inspector, he wasn't an especially tall man, probably 5'8", 5'9", but that's a 10-foot pipe he's standing. So those pipes are buried, they're out of sight, out of mind for you, but they're front and center in our minds to make sure that they're always operating. So when we get this enriched water, you can see it comes in as raw sewage. It's perfectly fine water, but it's full of stuff. Our job is to go through our 3 treatment sessions and make it very clean water. So again, I can give our valued partners, Orange County Water District, a hard time about this, but who does all the work? It comes been pretty dirty and it leaks pretty clean. They polish it, and we take whatever they polish out, but it's a great partnership that we do. So treatment. The most important thing we need from you is trust. You need to trust that the water we're producing, that you're going to drink, and the water that you're giving us is going to escape. So I'm proud to say that in the past 18 months, OC Sand has not had a single spill. The industry average is about 4 sewage spills per 100 miles of pipe per year. So we have almost 400 miles of pipe. We've had no spills in about 18 months. The last spill we had was a force main leak in Newport Beach, where some work was done, our pipe was damaged by others, we had no idea, and water was bubbling up in a parkway. We jumped on it. To us, that was a catastrophic spill. We lost about 2,000 gallons of sewage, we estimate. Watch the news, north of us, south of us, 2,000 gallons doesn't even register. So we're working very hard on our 400 miles. We are renewing and replacing all the time. We have an asset management program looking at not only our collection system and the condition of all of those linear assets in our 15 pump stations, but also every area of our treatment plant has a plan. We know what we own, we know what it's capable of delivering, and we have funding going off into the future to make sure we are always investing in that infrastructure. We don't waste money doing seismic upgrades, then not worrying about that, going to climate resilience upgrades, and then going to new technology upgrades. We march through our plant in a systemic way, and we deal with all of the things that we're facing. All those things I just mentioned, biosolids issues, climate issues, seismic issues, obsolescence issues, wear and tear issues, by going through every piece of our plant every 20 years in a stepwise fashion. We invest in a very thoughtful way. We don't redo any work, and we keep current with what we need. It's a very efficient model that we're using. That's what I'm starting to talk about throughout the industry. I think our industry needs to do a better job of that. Whenever you hear failing infrastructure, don't think of Orange County. Our infrastructure is in great shape. We know what's working, we know what's not working, and we have a plan to fix or upgrade whatever it is. So we take the water first in preliminary treatment. That's simple stuff. We run it through a screen, and that is a bar screen. So think about a 1-inch wide iron bar, 5/8 of an inch apart, through a 10-foot river of enhanced water. Anything that got into the sewer pipe, whether it's a ladder, lumber, bowling balls, you'd be amazed what people can get in the sewer pipe that's 10 feet diameter. We fished it out of those bar screens. The majority of the stuff is latex wipes and that's the nasty part. As we're scooping all that out with mechanical bar screens and sending it to a landfill, you as Fountain Valley residents shouldn't smell any of that. All the work that we do there is in enclosed spaces with air scrubbing to make sure that whatever air, some people call it foul air. Yeah, I'll go with it. It's important that we be good neighbors, and you shouldn't go with it. That's part of being the best kept secret. Next step is to lift the water into the plant because it's down deep in the sewers, and then do grit removal. That's sand, eggshells, things that we can't make energy out of, pebbles that might come in case somebody goes to the beach, takes a shower, all that sand's going to come down. We need to get that out of the flow. If we don't, it clogs up our energy-making digesters. So after that's done, that's preliminary treatment. The next step is chemically enhanced primary treatment. So we put a couple of chemicals, ferric chloride, and some polymers with positive charges, negative charges. It clumps up all that enriched organic matter, makes it settle. So primary treatment is all about gravity. You just have a big tank, the water's slowly moving, all the stuff settles to the bottom, you scrape off the stuff at the bottom, pump it to a digester, just turn it into energy. Anything that floats, you scrape that off, send it to the digester, it makes energy. So the water comes in 350 parts per million enriched. primary treatment, 100 parts per million, 80 parts per million, depending on time of day and how things are working. Then the secondary treatment kicks in, and that's biology. Hardest part of what we do. A couple of ways we do it, either fixed bed or floating, but basically we take a biomass, we aerate it very carefully, cultivate a certain organism community, and it has lunch. We're all about freeloaders. Let all that food meet a whole bunch of hungry organisms, give them the right amount of oxygen, and voila, you get clean water out here. So what comes in 350 parts per million dirty leaves about 5 parts per million dirty. That's what we give the water district. They then supercharge it, they microfilter it. Many times less than human hair. I'm sorry, I'm not able to help you. After it gets microfiltered, the reverse osmosis kicks in, and that's taking out salts, viruses, anything beyond microscopic. And then the last stage is UV and hydrogen peroxide. So if you have perfectly clean water, you blast it with ultraviolet light, you destroy the DNA of anything that would be coming through. So if a virus did slip through somehow, you destroy the virus by destroying its DNA. That's, UV light, you gotta wear sunscreen, you don't want cancer. Basically, we're killing the virus by UV light. So it's a great barrier system, and if that weren't enough, we put all that water in the ground. Where we put it in the ground is more than 6 months travel time from the initial well. So you're getting all of that filtration, finally, and dilution through the aquifer. So it's a great system, it's world leading, there's nothing like it, and our job is to keep innovating. I mentioned about the environment. We have a legacy of ocean protection because of where we started way back in the day. We had something called a waiver, 301 waiver from the Clean Water Act, and that allowed us to do less treatment in the 1980s, 1990s. So we did primary and partial secondary. But we had to prove to the EPA that we weren't damaging the ocean. So we have been actively surveying the ocean at depth, in the mud, sediment layers, along the beach line, looking constantly for any kind of accumulated damage, any kind of change. So our job has been to be environmental stewards since the 1960s. As we move forward, we have retained all of this. We have our own boat that goes out on a regular basis. It does all the same thing. We have a laboratory that does over 100,000 analysis a year. They ask for equipment, and I'm sure the hospital's in the same boat, quad pole, gas chromatograph. I can't remember all the words, and I'm an engineer. But it's a wonderful legacy. Our job is to continually demonstrate that we have a healthy environment. We continue to be engaged with the State Water Board. There's a lot of talk about nutrient removal now. Is ammonia or phosphates getting into the ocean causing eutrophication zones, which means dead spots where there's a lack of oxygen. There's a lot of research going back and forth. OC Sand is in the middle of that. We are driving science. We will do the right thing, but we want to make sure it's the right thing. We're not wasting money doing unnecessary treatment. So we will continue to drive the science to find out how best to serve the environment for our own benefit, because the ocean is an economic engine as well as a great recreation resource for this area. So, innovation, innovation, innovation. GWRS is built. It's done. So the question is, what's next? And for OC Sand, it's solids. We do a great job with water. We have pure water. We're taking all of our solids, however we're making them, either the biological leftovers that we're turning into energy, or the sludge and scum that we're putting into our digesters. The remnants of those are now used as fertilizer. The difficulty for us long term is there is a slow move afoot in the United States, especially, that says biosolids are not good. We shouldn't be putting it on land. There are things called PFAS, which I think most people have heard about, called perfluoroalkyl compounds like Teflon and a lot of the stain-fighting compounds that can cause cancer. And how we deal with those long-lasting, called forever chemicals, is now also have little bits of plastic, so microplastics are in that same mixture, as well as pharmaceuticals. So we're asking farmers to take our biosolids, spread it on the land. There are people saying, hey, cities are polluting farmland. I don't think it's a fair statement, but it doesn't matter what I think is fair. I think it's starting to get traction. What is OC San going to do to make sure we can continue to deal with this issue? It is a huge issue because we make 500 tons of biosolids every day. So that's not a flow anybody wants to interrupt, especially Fountain Valley and Huntington Beach, where we're emanating that flow. So we are trying to be very thoughtful and innovative. So one of my pet projects that I've been pushing for the last 10 years is a technology that revolves around this phenomenon called supercritical water. Everyone thinks about water in terms of liquid, ice, or steam, because we all live at 1 atmospheric pressure. If you get creative and you pressurize to 218 atmospheres, about 3,200 psi, and you heat that water to 374 degrees Celsius, you discover that there's a fourth state of water nobody really is taught in high school. It's called supercritical. The properties of water are flipped on their head. Everyone's taught in chemistry, water is a universal solvent. Supercritical water is not a universal solvent. Supercritical water, oil and water mix. Everyone knows oil and water don't mix. Hey, supercritical, they do mix. And if you put air and supercritical water and solids in the same pipe, air will oxidize those solids. I say that with a cool machine like this that I won't go through with you because I only have 2 or 3 minutes left, I can turn this machine into a jet engine that spins a turbine that runs on sludge. And more importantly, it will take things like pharmaceuticals and PFAS and mineralize them into things that are completely benign. It will turn PFAS into calcium fluoride, which is just sand. I can use it as a fertilizer because all the phosphates that are in that are now available as a sandy solution that if you throw on grass should be available as a nutrient. So it's an innovation. It's one of those things that has never been done for wastewater treatment. OC San has purchased one of these units. The vendor that we're going through is testing it. I have seen it operate in Indiana. It does indeed turn black sludge that is digestate, from the digester, and turns it into clean water, air that feels like you have your hands in front of a dryer vent, and a sandy solution in the water. When we get this to work, it will be the next innovation that people say, wow, Orange County is a place where we do things differently and we take an educated risk. So stay tuned, it should be delivered in April. But we also have our admin building. This is a big thing, I think, for the city. We have our bridge going over Ellis. We have this beautiful mass timber building. When you get a chance to get in there, probably, we're saying the first quarter, but we just walk through it. Our contractors working real hard. But I'd say, but it is a beautiful building. The mass timber is great ecologically, but more importantly, it also saves us money because the soils here in Fountain Valley aren't great for multi-story buildings. They're very soft because of the river, the soil that we have. And by using more wood than steel and concrete, it got lighter and it made our foundations cheaper. So it's a great mixture of being ecological but also fiscally responsive. It's going to be a jewel for the city for years to come. It's going to be a beautiful building. Having that walkway across Ellis to save all the foot traffic and light signal changes. So our staff will go from our office over to the plant without disrupting the flow of traffic. So there's a lot of benefits to it. We've connected the building with our plant, so we're reusing the heat that we make in our central generation facility to heat and cool the building. We're putting solar panels on it the weekends when there's no building load, power will go to the plant, and during the week when the building's full, half the power which is generated in the plant will come back to the building. So, LEED Gold certified, working through all that, it will be a great asset to the city and to San Diego. You're saying, wow, that's a lot. How do you pay for all of that? Glad you asked. What we have is a steady stream. We collect fees from every one of our connections. So if you are a homeowner, you will get your property tax bill and you'll see a line item there for $354. For a single residence, that's gonna go up about 3% next year and the year after. So we're under inflation, where we've been. But we're about $500 million a year in revenue in between those fees, property tax increment that we get from, for 1979. We get some interest on the money we have, but in general, $500 million in, $500 million out, we're pay as you go. We have not borrowed money to pay for our facilities in the last 10 years. We borrowed heavily, about $1.5 billion to upgrade our treatment in the early 2000s and to upgrade GWRS. Those were changes in our level of service. We had to add those facilities, they cost hundreds of millions of dollars, so we borrowed the money, and the idea was that the people at the time didn't pay for the whole thing, but the people that would use the facilities would pay for them over their life. So it was a choice based on generational equity. To do that, it was a wise choice. We will be debt-free in 2044, but that's no fun, so we're starting to say debt-free in 43. No new money, anything where we do reborrow money, it's only to lower our interest rates, like refinancing the mortgage. We're AAA rated, so we get really good interest rates. People want to lend us money. We're better risk than the federal government. We also are trying to be IT savvy moving forward, stay connected. There's a lot going on. We have our 70th anniversary community open house coming up in June. Please come visit. You will be astounded at the cleaning facilities that you have helped fund and take care of your enrichment in the water. It's a lot of ways to reach out. Please go to our website. They're all available. I can take any questions you may have. Yes, sir.
You mentioned earlier that you did not be able to smell the enrichment. However, as a resident of Fountain Valley, I can tell you that there are several days a year where we can definitely smell the enrichment. Particularly warm days, what's happening?
Particularly, the question is, some people actually smell the plant. All right. Why is it more on warm days generally than cool days? And the answer is biology. Biology on a warm day in the pipe will, the algae and whatnot that live in the pipe will make H2S. That's usually what you're gonna smell. It smells like rotten eggs. We have about a $8 million a year program where we will dose chemicals in those lines upstream to prevent that growth. But in the end, the nose is an amazing olfactory sensor. It's better than anything we can buy off the shelf. And some people are super sensitive. There are those days when even the regular person, even the sanitation district person can smell it. But it is a constant fight. Any air leak, you're going to detect. 388 miles of pipe and $12 billion in facilities that are all potential air leaks. One thing I can tell you is I can't make it odor-free, but when there is an odor, we do react. We try to engage as quickly, as clearly as we can, get to what we can change and fix it. We try and educate the residents, bring them in, walk them through the plant, because some people might think this is gross, but I can tell you where I am in the plant by how it smells. Because there are different smells and different steps. So when people call in with an odor complaint, we will ask them a ton of questions to zero in on whether they smell it. Is it headwards? Is it primary? Is it something from the digesters? Is it truck loading when we're moving out those biosolids? They all are subtly different, and it's important that we isolate quickly so we can fix it. And we are committed to fixing it.
Rob,
Can you briefly describe the World Water Prize that we received?
In 2008, we received the Stockholm Water Prize, which is the Nobel Prize for Water, for the first phase of GWRS. We were the first agency to get it right and get it in production. That was a huge milestone. But I will tell you, while that was the biggest prize, we'll never get it again because you only get it once. I have been on the road all this year, receiving every industry prize you can imagine for the final expansion of the Crandall replenishment system. I have the last, I think, of those awards coming to the National Association of Clean Water Agencies in Austin, Texas. California Association of Sanitary Agencies, and many others, because everyone realizes two things. It's hard to build, and it's hard to keep running. One of the things I'm most proud of is we brought in Guinness to do Guinness Book of World Records. Our plant was rated at 100 million gallons at its 10-year anniversary. We ran it for one day, 24 hours, the Guinness guy with a stopwatch, and we hit 100.0 million gallons on the day he was there. So we got the full capacity of the machine 10 years after owning it. And that's the operation and maintenance commitment that a lot of other agencies tend to lack. And that's what you're getting here today.
You mentioned RO. I have an RO unit on my kitchen sink. Do I need it?
All the water people would tell you no. If you have problems with hard water, then yeah, then it's useful.
Okay, I also gave up a water softener a year ago.
God bless you.
And should I replace it?
If you use a salt-based water softener, then that's where all those salts are coming from upstream of us. Everyone has hard water at Riverside. They put in a salt-based filter. All that salt goes back into the system. It comes down to Orange County. Those are the kinds of things that we're fighting. So salt-based water softeners are not recommended at all.
Thank you.
Councilmember Lewis?
Yeah, for those who haven't visited the facility, it's a truly modern marvel. I encourage, contact them and take a tour. One thing that I haven't heard you mention, can you tell us how efficient the facility in terms of energy-wise, how the digester, how you collect that? That's amazing.
It's super efficient. We take all those solids, we put them in 2.5 million gallon tanks. There's 10 of them here at plant 1, there are 20 at plant 2. You heat them up like a stomach, and you turn them around with pumps, and all the biology goes to work, and it makes methane and carbon dioxide. 65% methane, 35% carbon dioxide. We take that, we send it to our power plant. We make 11 megawatts of power between the two plants. The heat for the engines heats the digesters, heats and cools our buildings. The electricity obviously goes into 2/3 of the load of the plant. That's how we make sure that we're being good stewards. We also have the largest battery system behind the meter system in America. 5 megawatts of power for 6 hours, basically. It does a really good job of allowing us to save money. We charge it in off-peak, discharge it in peak, and we help Southern California as the power.
All right, well, thank you, Rob. So hopefully you guys are as excited about wastewater as much as I am. I'm really proud of the Sam. Yeah, they're amazing. A couple things just to take out of 130 million gallons a day is replenishment. I mean, that's just phenomenal. 100%, right now, 100% of Fountain Valley's drinking water comes from the wells right below us. We don't import water in Fountain Valley, and that's one of the big reasons why. I can validate the fishing. I actually went out on that fishing boat and helped catch fish one day to just experience what they do out there. And last night I took a tour of the new executive offices, the new main building that they're building. I took a walk across the Ellis Bridge. I have a little video of it I'll be posting on social media later today or tomorrow, as soon as I get to that. And one other thing that I did as on OC stand I'm really proud of is nominated Larry Crandall to the Hall of Fame for OC San. So Larry is actually on the Hall of Fame. And when you go into the building, there's a brick in front of him that has his name on that. So that's today's mayor's breakfast. Thank you again, everybody who's here. This again is an amazing turnout, and those watching at home, thank you, and look forward to the next mayor's breakfast next month. Thank you, everyone. Have a good day.